most of the judges would look towards imposing a sentence of imprisonment where it's necessary to do so. And they don't shy away from that. There's no, I don't share the public opinion that people get off lightly all the time. I've seen heavy sentences handed out where it's appropriate for them to do so, and they don't shy away from doing that. But beyond that, there is a sense that the judiciary understands that prison is perhaps not, is a bit of an antiquated model. It keeps the general public fairly well constrained in terms of, well, I don't want to go to jail, I don't want to risk what I've got, so I'll behave myself. But it doesn't work in all cases. So therefore, if prison's not the option and we don't have to send somebody to prison, then what could be done to help this person to not appear before us again? And they're very receptive to hearing about options which could be presented in a logical way that can be implemented in a practical way that will actually reduce the person's chances of reoffending again. So beyond general deterrence and the need to imprison, I think the judiciary is actually quite receptive to reading psychological and psychiatric reports which put forward the person's history and background in context so that the judiciary understands the background to the offending behaviour. But more, it's not just a bleeding heart story. More heavily weighted is what can we do with this person? What exists out there? And that's where it starts to get really tricky, because there is a paucity of services, unfortunately, in the criminal justice system, in the community, for drug and alcohol, domestic violence, sexual behaviours. If there's something, and there are systems out there are people working the system who can provide those services. Unfortunately, they're fairly few and far between and not very well funded. But if an argument can be made that this person is not going to be well served by prison, they're not going to receive any rehabilitation when they're in prison anyway, they've got employment, which is a massive factor for risk of reoffending in the future. So if they have stable employment, stable relationships and support, and perhaps if it's drugs and alcohol, meaningful rehabilitation, which they're already engaged in, which will help to reduce their likelihood of using drugs in the future, then the judge is going to be very receptive to hearing how that's going to be put into place so that it will reduce the person's risk of reoffending rather than having to send them to jail.